My book for lay people on assurance of faith finally arrived from Christian Focus. It's called Knowing and Growing in Assurance. And I'm pretty excited about it because I've studied, I've meditated, I've spoken on this subject for 35 years. I wrote my doctoral dissertation on it for Westminster Seminary back in the 80s. And then another book, Quest for Full Assurance, later, and dozens of articles. But I've always wanted to do a book for typical church members, and especially for people who are struggling with realizing assurance for their own soul. And so when Christian Focus from Scotland approached me to do just that, I immediately agreed. And so in this book, after explaining why assurance of faith is very important for Christians, and then devoting a chapter to why many Christians lack assurance, I show that assurance is biblical and ought to be normative for Christians, at least to some degree, when they're not backsliding. I then go on to explain how the Holy Spirit enables us to lay hold of assurance personally through God's promises, through the inward evidences of grace that I'm a child of God, and through the witnessing testimony of the Holy Spirit with our conscience that we are the children of God. And then I go on to look at how to cultivate this assurance, to grow it, as well as how we can both lose it and have it renewed. And finally, I take a closer look at the role of the Holy Spirit in assurance as Paul develops it for us in Romans 8 so powerfully. And then I answer various questions that people have about assurance. So my prayer is that this book will impact people in a variety of ways. I pray first for the strongly assured Christian, that his or her faith will be strengthened by this book and will become more healthy and fruitful and joyous, and will also assist other Christians by speaking to them about the importance of obtaining assurance of faith. I also pray that the weak Christian will cultivate assurance as a result of reading this book prayerfully, and will experience that his or her assurance is greatly enlarged by the Spirit's grace. And then too, I pray that nominal Christians and unbelievers will realize what they're missing and will flee to Christ alone for salvation and learn to find all their righteousness, peace, and hope only in Him. Now, since this subject has been so dear to my heart, and I've also had the privilege of counseling many people about assurance for more than 40 years, I rather nostalgically like to think that it's not by chance that this is also my 100th book I've written or co-authored. Ever since being a teenager, I've often felt closest to God when I write. So yes, I'm a compulsive writer. And I trust, though, not just for my own soul, but for the souls of others as well, and hopefully yours too. So please read this book yourself and give copies to any Christian you know who struggles with knowing and growing in personal assurance of faith. God bless you.